Gentlemen, welcome back to one of our video teaching sessions. And this session is extremely important and dear to my heart because there are so many people out there that are not doing this. And it is so important to your mining endeavors that you actually understand and use configurations for CGMINER and failovers. I can't fathom people not doing these things. Number one, configurations are config files. And what they do is they simplify um, how you run CGMiner. You can really drill down a lot of the advanced options in configuration files. I know a lot of you newer guys are using batch files and whatnot and command line interface. Great when you're first starting out, not so great when you actually want to start taking it seriously. Uh, and you know what? I'll even go back on that. Everyone should just use config files right from the start. Forget about the batch file. Okay, well, first thing I want to do is take you from the batch file to the config file. And I'll show you kind of what new people will do. They'll get all CGMINER here, and what they'll do is they'll go to, getting started down here, and they'll be like, "Ooh, what's all this? Yeah, okay, all right. Well, at least I know, the configuration of it. But I want this. This is what the new guys always want. They always want CGMINER, and they'll come in here and they'll take this whole thing here. Actually, in fact, you know what? A lot of them will only take this portion, and this is bad, and I'll show you why. Okay, so this has basically East 1 US stratum. It has the stratum included there. Has the port number for lot, because we want to start mining lot or something. And it has the username and password here. And that's all great. And that's what most people just do. They roll with that. So what they would do is they would now, copy that and throw it in here and paste, and away they go. That's not going to work so well, but let me just fill in some of these things here. Um, the demo I'm going to be showing you, I've set up a custom port 6001. We don't actually have a port called 6001, but I just wanted to, do a test here. And let me just quickly find out what the worker is. Yeah, it's worker 1 I made it. Okay, so worker 1. And the password for worker 1 is really hard. It's X. Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? Okay, so this all looks good. This is what most newbies will do, and this is perfectly fine. When you first start out and you mine your first coin and you're all excited, you have that, you have 3 doggy coins, and you're going to go sell them for a whole 2 cents, and that's really exciting. You minted your first stuff. Then you get a little more advanced, and anything past the first day, you want to look at this video and get it down right from the start. Okay, so we have the script. That's great. That's what we need. We have the stratum port. That's great. And we have the worker and the password. So what we do is go ahead and press enter, and oh my god, it's mining. And okay, I've set intensity to 8 here because I'm recording and I really don't want my computer lagging out while I'm doing any of this. Actually, I didn't really set it to 8. I just didn't even put any options in CGMINER, so it defaulted to 8. I don't really mind this slow, but some people might. Anyways, look, hey, look, it's working. Great. And you can see up here, connected to East 1 US Stratum, dedicatedpool.com, and we're mining. And what? Okay, this is great. And then people will usually go to bed and they'll wake up in the next morning and their miner won't be working, or something funny went wrong, and you're gonna get pissed. You're gonna be like, damn it, I left it on all night and I didn't get coins. Uh, what happens? You're usually mining on a pool, and something like this happens. Ooh. Stratum connection to pool 0 interrupted. Not responding. And no, the hash rate's going down. That means I'm not making my 3 doggy coins anymore. No, that is bad. Very, very bad. Okay, so, and sometimes, you guys will be alerted. You'll hear your fan spin down. And you're like, Jesus Christ, it's silent in here. There's something wrong. Well, yeah, because the stratum on the pool went down and you're not connected. So this is a bad thing. You're not making money when this happens. So how do you combat this? Well, you combat it by using something called a failover. So what we would do to fix this is, okay, we're going to have to close down CGMINER at this point. All right, guys, and let me just get another command prompt up here. And we're back. Okay, so that was what would happen if you had one thing programmed in. So let's go ahead and take this whole thing again, copy, and we're going to go ahead and bring up that command prompt and we're going to paste it in there. Okay, so I'm going to show you what's going to happen if we were to put a failover in and then we had a pool failure. Sorry, a stratum failure. I'm just going to go ahead here and go all the way back here, and this is getting kind of confusing. There's a lot of information here now. That's, the natural progression for someone would be to start creating batch files, and we're going to go through that in a second. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first get rid of this. I'm going to put test dude in just like before, and worker 1, and I'm going to go here and to the password. I'm going to get rid of all the worker password and put X, and then you can see we've got a new area here. We've got another stratum called West1 in the same command line. Same thing we got to do for this. We got to put test dude worker 1, and we got to erase the password. Okay. Now here I've got the default ports for lot configured here. I'm not going to show you a failure on a live on a live stratum. A lot of people mining, there's 413 miners right there right now. They're kind of pissed off that if the stratum all of a sudden went down. So I'm going to change my ports. And you don't have to do this. This is just for my showing you at testing purposes. 6001 on east and 6001 on west. Those are two little test ports I've got set up to show you a failure. So, okay, so I've changed my ports. I've changed my username and password and everything looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and click enter. And here goes CGMINER, and whoa, look at that. We're mining again. Those 3 doggy coins are coming. I'm going to get 3 more soon, guys. And with these 3 doggy coins, I'm going right to crispy, and I'm going to control the market. I'm going to bring that price right down. I'm going to bear it up, man. Okay, so we have it. It's mining. That's all great, and we don't want to be a sad doggy, so we set up failovers. Now let's simulate and show you what happens when there's a failover on East 1. 3, 2, 1, fail. Oh, look at that. Pool 0, okay, we've all seen this before, is not responding. But look at this, switching to pool 1. That was immediate. Look at that. It's already on West 1. East 1 is down, guys. And let's say, it went down, I had to do a reboot, or it got DOSed or whatever. But you were smart enough to set up failovers. And that failed over to West 1 almost immediately. Did you see that? This is why failovers are so important. If you're not using failovers, you're really sticking your neck out there when you go to sleep, because any pool could go down for whatever reason. And if it does, you're going to be a really sad doggy when you wake up in the morning and you don't have the coins that you expected because your CGMINER wasn't connected to it's connected to a pool that failed. Okay, so it's always good to at least have 2 failovers. And for dedicated pool, I always recommend east and west. And then after that, if east and west were the boats go down, I would always recommend putting a third-party pool in there. Just to make sure that you're always mining. And there's a question that comes up with that. You're like, okay, well, let's say I put a third-party pool in there and it fails over to that. Well, you don't want to be mining that forever if dedicated pool comes back up. Well, here's the great thing. If you prioritize your pools in your configuration, it will always try to connect back to the first pool. And let me show you. I'm going to put up the first pool again. And I'm going to show you how quickly it changes back. We're just going to have to give it a second, though, because it's just resetting. And here we go. I just put it back up. And in a second, CGMINER is going to find that East 1 is back up, and you're going to see it change back to East 1. Now, it's not quite instant. It does a poll over there once in a while to see if East 1 or your first pool is back up. And if it is, oh, there it goes. It's detected it already. That was less than, what, 30 seconds? And look, we're back on East 1. It switched it for us. Okay, we're East 1. Isn't that a beautiful thing? That is a beautiful thing. So if you put East 1, West 1, and then a third pool, like a third party pool in there, and then let's say our pools come back up and you're mining on the third party pool, overnight, almost instantly, you will come back and start mining on our pool when we're back up. It is so important to have this set up because what happens normally if there's a failure on a pool and someone doesn't have failover set up, what they do is they go ahead and edit the new config file, erase their old pool, and put the new pool in, and they forget about the old pool. And they forget about their coins half the time too, because they're like, okay, well, this new pool is stable and whatever. And usually they don't come back to you until that new pool fails, and then they edit their configuration file again to point back at you. With failovers, you don't need to do any of that anymore. You just put the pools you want in priority, and you will fail over first, second, third, fourth, fifth pool. And if your more prioritized pools come back, it will actually switch over to like number 2 or number 1 or whichever one is first in the list that goes back up. Okay, so that's that in a nutshell. I'm going to close this down and I'm going to talk a little bit about the configuration files now. Sorry, I was going to do the configuration files first, but I figured, you know what, while we're already talking about CGMINER, we might as well just keep doing that. Okay, so you can see after this it says if you are using configuration file instead of a command line command, use this for failover pools. Look at this. This is, what is, oh, there's like a square bracket, a really pissed off bracket, another pissed off bracket looking the other way, and more of them. And then there's a square bracket at the end here. The hell's all that? Well, this is kind of CGMINER's configuration of saying, between these two square brackets, this is the pool information of the first pool. Between these two square brackets, this is the pool information for the second pool. As you can see, this is a lot nicely laid out than, you know, something that just spams across the screen and word wraps around, and that's annoying. So before we get into that, I'm just going to show you really briefly, quickly, the batch file. And so this is what would happen if, you know, you were to do CGMINER, and most people would go doing batch files. They would just type all this stuff in and then run the batch file from the command line, and the batch file will work and basically essentially be the command line prompt again of all the information that we put in. Makes life a little easier, but no. Okay, we want the advanced stuff. We want the proper stuff. So to do that, first of all, I've got to find out where I already made that configuration file. And I found it. Okay, and we're back. I've already gone ahead and made a configuration file here. I've named it mining.conf. I've put the pools in exactly like here. I just copied and pasted this into here. In fact, but I've changed the port numbers because remember I'm showing you on test ports. You don't need to change these port numbers. You can just leave this exactly how you see it here. Remember that pissed off bracket's got to be at the, oh, okay, I don't have one here, but the pissed off bracket's got to be at the start there, the left, the one that's like looking left. Actually looks like kind of like a face profile, doesn't it? That's got to be at the start, and then you put all the pool information in, starting with the quotes around pools, and then at the end, it's got to end with a square bracket. Okay, this is there's got to be an equal one at the bottom, looking the other way. So that's why this isn't originally in here, because it's just a cutout of the pool section. But in reality, this bracket's basically saying this is the start and this is the end of the configuration file. And this is the pool information here. Okay. This down here are all the configurations that you can actually put in CGMINER. Intensity 10, and the reason I got it at 10 and not 12 or 13 is because I don't want this to lag out while I'm recording. Okay, I have vectors at 1, and you know all this information for you is going to be different. You might not even want any information in there. You just might just want maybe intensity. Or you might be a little more advanced and you might want to get into some of these settings. There's lots of great forums out there that tell you exactly what kind of settings you should put on for what card. In the batch file, it's kind of hard to list all this stuff in the command line or in the batch file without going crazy because it just looks so spammy. It keeps going right across the screen and it's not organized. So that's why configuration files are king. Now, how do you run one of these configuration files? Okay, that's pretty easy. What you do is, I'm just going to move, you know what, we'll keep that guy there. Keep him there for good measure. Okay, and I'm just going to bring back a command prompt. CGMINER. Okay, here we go. All right, so same deal, CGMINER, the old command you used to know, but instead of putting all this gobbly-goo in here and having it go like forever across the screen, which is, no one likes that, all we do is we do CGMINER -- I believe it's config, or it could be conf. I think it's config. Space, and then the configuration file that you made. Mine is called mining.conf, and it's in the same directory. And what it will do is it's going to say, I want to specify a configuration file for all this garbage that I used to put across the screen that's in a batch file. And here it is. This is where I put it. And then I go ahead and press enter. And oh my God, it's mining. Here comes another 3 doggy coins, guys. This is crazy. I'm rich now. Okay, so same deal. It's running, and if it's on East 1, and if I go ahead and simulate a stratum failure, boom, submission failure, pool down, switching to pool 1, West 1, and it switched to West 1. Now, I mean, in the worst case scenario, what happens is West 1 goes down 2, and I've simulated a failure on both pools now, and so in this situation, yeah, you're screwed unless you actually had a third pool down here, and you'd have to put a comma right here, and then copy these brackets here, and there doesn't have to be a comma on the last one. So let me show you. You copy that, and there'd have to be a comma here, but you don't want a comma here. No, bad, no comma. It's only a comma if there's another one following it. And then you would just go ahead and put the pool that you want to fail over into. I don't know, scam pool 2399.com. Okay, and Mr. Scam Pool is going to be very happy to get your hash after dedicated pool's gone down. And then you would have to obviously change your username and worker and password for Scam Pool. So what would happen is if East and West went down, it would fail over to a different third-party pool. And this is the configuration file that I would recommend. I love other pools, as long as you're not scam pools. I'm very, very friendly to other pools. I try to help them grow and help them with their configuration files and their stratums. There's a lot of frustration out there for new admins, and I mean, it's not healthy just to have one dominating pool. There's a lot of hash to go around, and so I recommend putting a third-party pool in there for sure. But once we're back up, I'd like you really back here. Essentially, I'd like you back at the pool, but I don't want you to lose hash if for some reason complete failure, all of our stratums would go down. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. Obviously, there's no scam pool 2399, so I really can't show you what happens when it's going to fail over and go into another scam pool. I've just put up East 1 to simulate what happens, and let's see, I just put it up. And while I'm talking, we're going to see how long it takes to recognize that East 1 went back up. But this is what you want. If you don't have this kind of configuration, you're really not playing this serious enough. And this East 1 should go up in just a second. There we go. East 1 is back up. And see, it's starting to hash away. And I can put West 1 back up now. But it's not going to switch to West 1. It will detect West 1 is back up. But it's not going to switch to West 1 because East 1 is our primary. If I were to put West 1 up first, it would have switched to West 1. And then if I put East 1 up first, second, then it would have switched to East 1. But in the other direction, it's not going to go back to West 1 because it's always going to look for our primary pool first. These are priority list here. Okay, well, that's it in a nutshell, guys. I don't know if there's any much more I can talk about. I've rambled on long enough, but I want to always make sure that you guys get every single detail. When I always watch videos, I'm always questions are in my mind. What happens if this? What happens if that? Uh, so I always want to make sure that we cover everything. I know that these videos are a bit long for a couple of simple things, but after you're done watching these videos, you should really know kind of every little situation that you can encounter. If you do have any questions, comments, please post them in the comment section down there. Let me know what you thought of this video. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, I'm going to do a lot of them. Let me know because I want to make sure you guys are educated and you know what you're doing. All right? Comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.